All right, Maddie, let's take a look at your paper MLA format first. This looks good. All of this looks good. Fearless man meets undeniable death. Kind of sounds like an article headline. I don't know if it's the most creative thing in the world, but almost feel like there's supposed to be a joke that follows or something. I don't know. All right, so you start with a quote, which is fine. Your citation for that quote is down here, I'm assuming. So that really should go right here. So make sure you move that to the proper sentence. Whenever you mention the play, make sure that you mention the author as well. So in the play Macbeth by William Shakespeare, and then go from there. Now, you use the word fate and fear a lot in this opening paragraph. So just be careful as you're writing this and thinking about a rewrite. Ways that you can rearrange and substitute some words in that will make it a little bit stronger. You do have a couple things in here. You have a sentence fragment right here. It's not a complete sentence, so you have to probably want to combine it with the last sentence. And then you have this citation here. Oops, that's going to move it. See, I screwed that up. So you have that citation there, and what you want to do is make sure that is, I'm not exactly sure, because when you put it right here, it's almost like, well, I got this from the website, but all these other things are from the website too. So does it make sense to maybe put all of them in one sentence, cite it, and then get into Macbeth, with this symptom, Macbeth did this, with this symptom, Macbeth did this, so on and so forth. Now, your thesis statement, his eagerness to steer his fate resulted in an obsessive-compulsive manner. Now, I'm not a huge fan that you use the topic, the disorder in your thesis statement, which eventually causes cessation. So, I don't know. I think I'd reframe this. He tried to steer his fate, resulting in... I feel like it's something else, because I feel like all you're going to say in your body is that he was obsessive-compulsive, which is what your topic is. So I don't know if it's eventually going to get deep enough, but I will. I guess I'll figure that as I keep reading. All right, Maddie, you have a really long first body paragraph, but we're going to talk a little bit about why it's so long and what needs to change about it. All right, so your topic sentence is pretty good. Kind of leads us to what we're going to be talking about. Now, here's the problem. Basically, well, I mean, let's be honest. All of this is all plot of the story. I mean, there's a few things in here that isn't plot, but this is all plot. Now, your body paragraph should read like this. Topic sentence, outside sources explaining the symptom, which you don't have any of in here. Then tying it into Macbeth and how Macbeth shows those symptoms, and then tying it into the thesis statement up here. Okay, eagerness to steer his fate is part of it. Okay, now you do talk about the thesis statement. I mean, I think there is a good connection with this, but you have way too much information setting up the aggressive thoughts than actually talking about them. You have way too much about Lady Macbeth. Remember, this is symptoms that Macbeth has. He has unwanted aggressive thoughts. Okay, then I want to see, his aggressive thoughts as he's contemplating killing the king. This is more along the lines of him deciding to wait, which is a good line to tie in with him wanting to take fate into his own hands. But there's just too much stuff in here that has nothing to do with his unwanted aggressive thoughts. And you really need to streamline this paragraph to fit that. Okay, a couple more things. Number one, your quotes do not need to be italicized, so make sure they're not italicized. You cite them correctly, which is awesome, but you do not need to italicize them. Number two, you have a lot of sentence structure errors. You have a lot of punctuation errors, and I'm going to run you through a couple of these just to talk about some rules and make sure we're on the right track here, okay? For instance, Macbeth's problem was not only being able to control his horrific thoughts. This is not a complete sentence, so you can't have a semicolon here. You should have but the trouble that evolved from them, get rid of this, but the trouble that evolved from them should be there. you have, take its course. It's not take it is course. This is possessive, so no punctuation there. That's the wrong word. This is the wrong use of a colon. That should be a comma there. This is a run-on sentence. I don't know. There's a couple more examples in here of just sentence structure errors, punctuation errors, and just things that you need to fix. Okay, so this. Oh, where's the one? Hold on, I'll find it. All right, his aggressive thoughts overrode his sinless ones, and yet another murder took place. You have two conjunctions right here. You don't even need his aggressive thoughts overrode his sinless ones, and another murder took place. Like you don't even need the semicolon or the yet. I mean, just things like that, Maddie. You're gonna have to go back and clean that up a little bit. And again, if you need my help, I'll help you with that. But you do need to figure that out. Like I said, you don't do a bad job, Maddie, in this paragraph of tying in the thesis statement. There's just a lot of junk not needed in there to get to that point. All right, we go from a way too long paragraph to what amounts to maybe a way too short paragraph that doesn't have nearly enough detail in here. All right, so perfect deaths need to be achieved. So I like the idea of that perfection. His desire to control this, is it supposed to be fate, was becoming more work than he thought. And if that's your topic sentence, you really should be talking a lot about the idea that it was more work and so on and so forth. First thing, you don't have any outside sources again in here. You have to add those in. Now, if we're going to talk about perfect deaths, I don't know how you can gloss over Banquo's death, because that's the scene where Macbeth talks exclusively about having a perfect murder. So it seems like such a lapse in judgment that you don't talk about Banquo in this paragraph at all. Duncan's death was notably too perfect, so here's a run-on sentence. Likewise, it was too easy to get away with. According to Lady Macbeth's intentions, his murder did not go as planned. I mean, the only thing that didn't go as planned is he left the daggers out of the equation, but she put them back, and then remember, a little water clears us of this deed, so I have a hard time maybe justifying that. So then you jump right to Macduff, though, which his death was also not perfect. Now, remember, before he attacks Macduff's castle, he knows Macduff isn't there. They didn't find Macduff, but he knew he was in England, and that's why he went and attacked his castle. So they weren't looking for Macduff in this scene. So that this whole thing needs to be reordered and rearranged. He does want things in order, but Banquo is the perfect example of this. And you can compare and contrast it with Duncan too. That's fine, but you gotta mention Banquo in this paragraph, and you gotta have outside sources. I want to see what the experts say. All right, so another paragraph that this one lacks a decent topic sentence. I mean, these first two are not quite where you need them to go. You have three different sentences in this sentence, so you got to figure that out. Let's review semicolons. I know we just went over this in class, Maddie, but semicolons separate two complete thoughts. Until Macduff and him were face-to-face battling, it's not a complete thought, so you can't use a semicolon there. It would be correct here, except you have this one, which has a comma splice in it. So you'd have to add and in there or something like that in order to fix that comma splice. This one is notable because, like the last paragraph, it doesn't have any quotes from the story. So I'm having a hard time, the whole angst and remorse, like, where do you see Macbeth feeling this angst and remorse? Because I would think you'd want to talk almost exclusively about right after Duncan's murder, that there's this huge feeling of remorse. Or, at the end, his angst in killing Macduff's family, or his angst at the messenger that brings him news of the army, but I don't see any of that in here. I mean, you talk about uneasiness when Macbeth said he was born of C-section, but I don't see the angst and remorse thing. And this serious state of despondency, I'm not even sure you can justify that too. So you might want to be very specific with what you're looking at here. And that's why you need to add in the outside sources. The outside sources are going to give you a frame of reference as you try to talk about these situations. Now, sanguine is a great word. You just used it incorrectly. The way that you used it, it's wrong. This is an adjective. You can't say his adjective was gone. So you got to reword that. It's a great word, though. See if you can still fit it in. This is also a comma splice error here that you need to fix. All right, on to your conclusion. All right, in your conclusion, I'm a little bit confused here. Okay, very first thing you should do in your conclusion is restate your thesis. I'm not sure why you're bringing up depression in your conclusion, since you don't talk about depression at all in your paper. This is kind of your thesis statement, I guess. If you wanted to restate it, that should go first. Then you're going to go through and review the symptoms that he had and what it meant to him in the story. But everything that you do here is so seems like all over the place. You have uncontrollable thoughts, destructive thoughts, fearless. I mean, none of this is really your symptoms in here. So you should at least have a sentence of summary per symptom so that it's clear. This is a wrong use of a semicolon again. Again, this is all plot. Macbeth was searching to find his prophetic declaration, comma, but instead he found his inevitable destiny was the downfall to his fatality. This is just too wordy and doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So you're going to want to change that too. And I'm not even sure. I mean, what is fate? Because that's not a source that you have in here. So I'm not exactly sure what that is. That's supposed to be this? I don't know. So you have, must be from, I don't know what you're, Maddie, figure that out. Your works cited page needs to be on a separate page. This goes away, and it should just be the obsessive compulsive disorder. And then the Mayo Clinic is down here. That's where you put that. And then you'll have to rearrange these to make sure that it's in alphabetical order from the front. But other than that, everything looks good on here. All right, Maddie, we got to clean up some language, clean up some punctuation, really work on organization, really work on outside sources in our body, and really work on focusing and streamlining our main point into a point at the end. So good luck with the rewrite.